Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, I will be waiting for you to pick up the notification and find out that I'm already online, and then we'll start this conversation. It's all about Empowerment Wednesday, and of course, our topic is all about heartbreaks. So, how do we really recover from heartbreaks? So, this is a requested podcast episode, and I'll wait for you guys to join the conversation. Good evening. Hello, hello. Okay, of course, please feel free to send me a message or type a comment on the comment section below so that you can join the conversation. That's one of the best things about, about live podcast episodes. You can actually interact with the person talking. So don't feel shy. You can talk to me. Okay, if you don't want to talk to me, then okay lang din naman. You can send me a private message. Okay? Sa mga nahihiya mag-post. Um, So, okay lang din, silent audience, pwede rin naman. Anyway, once again, good evening everyone, wherever you're watching from. So, good evening kung nasa Pilipinas kayo, if you're watching from abroad, good morning or good afternoon. I'm happy to see you here, although I literally cannot see you, but I can see the stats. So, send me a heart, send me a comment, whatever you want to do on the live podcast. Pwede naman. Okay, our topic for tonight is all about recovering from heartbreaks. And this is a topic that's actually suggested. So, ayan, kaya yun yung pag-uusapan natin tonight. So, welcome back to my channel. I'm Irene. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the Philippines. I'm also a motivational speaker and a writer. And I'm very happy to be back to podcasting kasi I've been out for quite a bit. But now I'm back, and so you can definitely send me a message about your requested topics so that we can talk about it on my channel. Hello, Sir Taya. Good evening po. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy holidays din po. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so, hello, Ma'am Wendy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello po, nice to see you again. And syempre may badge. I'm not sure what does that mean, pero may nakita akong badge sa name nyo. That's cute. Okay. So, again, this is a requested topic. So, heartbreaks. Ano nga ba yung heartbreak? So, sige, we'll talk about it in a generic perspective. So, generic. So, hindi natin pag-usapan kung ano yung mga heartbreaks natin. Kasi marami yan eh. Pwedeng heartbreaks, literal na heartbreak. Literal na puso. Okay, nasaktan yung puso natin, ganyan. Pero totoo naman, nasasaktan tayo sa maraming dahilan. For example, personal relationships. Yan ang pinaka-common. But we also face heartbreaks even at work. For example, ano ba mga problema, mga heartbreak sa work? For example, hindi ka na-promote. You were expecting to be promoted. Or kahit hindi sa promotion na sa ranggo, pwedeng, kasi sa private naman, we have salary promotion. So, tumataas yung sweldo. So, in-expect mo, tapos hindi dumating. O kaya, hindi ka nakakota. For example, in my industry, I'm in the sales industry. So, kapag hindi nakakota, hindi na-hit yung targets, yan, heartbreaking yan. So, maraming heartbreaks. Okay, so parang, may mga kliyenteng pinaasa ka, ganyan. Mga heartbreaks yung mga ganyan. So, there are so many heartbreaks. Now, when dealing with a heartbreak, we first have to understand why do our hearts break? Bakit tayo nagkaka-heartbreak? Bakit nga ba? So, pinakaunang dahilan why we're having heartbreaks is we are humans. And for as long as we're humans, di ba, we have a heartbreak. So, naalala ko yung sinabi ni Tin Man doon sa, ano nga ba, saan nga ba si Tin Man? Sa Wizard of Oz. Di ba sabi niya sa Wizard of Oz? Sabi ni Tin Man, yung lata, sabi niya, now I know I have a heart because it's breaking. Okay, sabi niya, hindi niya malalamang meron siyang heart until such time na break yun. So, the tendency for us, especially that, we have a heart, we're humans, so it's really common for us to have heartbreaks. So, hindi abnormal na magkaroon tayo ng heartbreaks. It's common because we're humans, okay? For as long as you're human, you are bound to have a heartbreak at many given points in your life. Okay, number two, if we have the ability to love, we also have the ability to hurt. You know what's so what's so fascinating about loving is when we love someone, sila din yung may capacity na saktan tayo. You get what I'm saying? I mean, strangers cannot hurt our feelings, right? Most of the time, we get heartbreaks because of the people that we love. Which is, well, kasi when we love, we become vulnerable. Tama. And when we love, we give so much of ourselves. And so, when they decline, when they, for example, when they do not give it back, when they do not reciprocate the love that we're giving, then we tend to have some heartbreaks, right? I actually posted on my Facebook page earlier this morning about expectations. So yun, nakakasakit yun. Kasi when you expect too much from people, when you expect too much from life, then heartbreaks are pretty common and they're always there. Just around the corner when we are not expecting them, bigla tayong nagkaka-heartbreak kasi we expect too much. Number three, speaking of vulnerable, when we love, we choose to be vulnerable. Okay, we choose to be vulnerable. Kasi when we don't love, malalakas tayo eh. Alam niyo yun? Ang nagiging, di ba, ano nga ba yung kay Superman? Ano nga ba yung tawag doon? Nagiging kryptonite. Ang nagiging kryptonite natin is yung mga tao or yung mga bagay or mga experience na mahal natin. So then, it gives us a heartbreak because we choose to be vulnerable. Pinili nating maging malambot towards that particular person or towards that particular situation. So, when we choose to be vulnerable, then hurt or heartbreaks are just waiting for it to happen. Next, we also break our hearts. Ito, pakinggan nyo to. Baka may makaka-relate. Because sometimes it's self-sabotage. Gawa-gawa natin. Nasasaktan tayo kasi ginagawa natin sa sarili natin yon. Okay? Hindi ko alam kung sino nakaka-relate dito. Pero minsan, di ba? Kahit wala naman talagang issue. Kahit wala naman talagang, wala naman talagang dapat masaktan or wala naman dapat na masakit, pero nasasaktan tayo kasi gawa-gawa natin. Alam niyo yun? Minsan madrama lang tayo. Maybe we've been watching too much K-drama or telenovela, ganyan. So, ang nangyayari, tayo mismo, ginagawa natin sa sarili natin, sinasaktan natin. Wala namang issue, gumagawa tayo ng issue. Maliit lang yung issue, pinapalaki natin yung issue. So, sometimes, it's also self-sabotage. Gawa-gawa natin, no? Tayo mismo yung nag-cause nung heartbreak natin. Okay, next is, it's not the right time. So, we break our hearts, or our hearts break, because it's not yet the time for us. Okay, for example, hindi kayo nagkatuluyan nung dream man mo or dream woman mo because it's not the right time. Hindi ka natanggap sa inaplayan mong trabaho because it's not the right time. Hindi ka pa na-promote because it's not the right time. Hindi mo pa nakuha yung mga gusto mo sa buhay because it's not the right time. It's heartbreaking. When we encounter these situations in our lives, it's really heartbreaking. Kasi syempre, in-expect mo eh. Remember, when you expect too much, it's easy. It's so easy to get hurt. Sobrang dali kapag marami tayong expectations sa buhay. That's why I always say, do not expect too much. Just give without expecting anything. Just live without expecting anything. Just love without expecting anything. And it's a lot happier. Okay? Next is, it's inevitable. When we say it's inevitable for our hearts to break, it means that hindi natin siya maiiwasan. Whatever happens, we're gonna get hurt in one way or another. We're gonna break our hearts in one way or another. Pwedeng hindi ka nasaktan ngayon, pero bukas pwede. So it's a part of, it's a part of life. It's inevitable. And of course, nabutuloy ako. And of course, we would like to emphasize this. Everybody experiences it. It's not you, excuse me, it's not you alone. So whatever you're experiencing, whenever you're experiencing heartbreaks, please do not feel alone because everybody experiences it. Like it's not only you who's experiencing it. Okay, hindi ka nag-iisa. Huwag mong isipin na kaya ka may heartbreak kasi sinadya ni Lord na tumigyan ka ng heartbreak. Ikaw lang talaga. Out of 7 billion people, ikaw lang yung binigyan niya ng heartbreak. Nope. Lahat ng tao may kanya-kanyang heartbreak to face. And it's not only you. So it's not an isolated case. Everybody will have a source of heartbreak in one way or another at one point in time or many points in their lives. They will experience that. So do not feel as if it's an isolated case because it's not. Okay? So the more we understand about heartbreaks, the more we understand how we can deal with it, right? You cannot solve something you don't know. So, tanungin natin yung sarili natin, di ba? What's the source of the heartbreak? Ako madalas, ang source ng heartbreak ko is kapag hindi natutupad yung gusto ko. Because I talked about this last Monday. When I was in my 20s, when I was younger, I'm such a control freak. As in, sobrang gusto ko kontrolin lahat. And so, if every time you want to control everything, your heart breaks every single time that whatever you want does not happen, right? Kasi gusto mo mangyari. So, ang nangyayari, nagkakaroon ka ng attachment towards that particular thing or particular situation or particular experience. So, kapag hindi nangyari yon, ang bilis magkaroon ng heartbreak. Yon. Kaya nung medyo tumanda na ako, sabi ko, kailangan ko nang i-let go itong mga bagay-bagay nito. Kasi the more you expect too much, the easier it is for you to break your heart. And syempre, pag tumatanda ka na, hindi naman sa mas mababa yung tolerance mo sa heartbreak, pero mas mataas na yung tolerance mo sa mga nangyayari sa'yo. Okay? So it's not really because parang ayaw mo na or whatever, you don't care anymore. It's not really that. But you now understand that as you grow older, you have more tolerance and more acceptance that things will happen if they are meant to happen. Okay? So, dun tayo sa how do we recover from heartbreak because this is the main topic for tonight. Ayan. Parang bilis ko tonight, no? Okay. So, number 1, speaking of, the first tip on how to recover from a heartbreak is to accept the situation and the reality. Okay, it's easier said than done. I know that. Siguro yung iba dyan sa inyo, hay nako, sige, accept. Hindi siya madali. That's true. Hindi siya madali. Kaya nga there's a stage. No? There are stages to acceptance. Hindi siya agad-agad nangyayari. There is parang you have to go through a process before you actually accept reality. Magsisimula ka muna dyan sa denial. Di ba mga stages of grief? Magsisimula ka sa denial, merong merong denial, anger, bargaining, tapos finally, ano ba yung letter D? And then acceptance. Di ba? Dabda yan eh. Merong stages. So, matagal siyang proseso. But it's rewarding when you finally accept that things happen not because of what you want, but because there's a bigger perspective of life. So, the first one is really to accept the situation and the reality. Easier said than done, but that's one of the strongest and one of the basic tips that I will tell you about heartbreaks. Okay, recently I have been actually talking to so many people. kahit na madalas absent ako sa social media. Although you see me posting, but I'm not always on social media. It's like maybe around 5 minutes lang ini-spend ko. Like every time I post 5 minutes and then I'm out. So what people usually do is they get in touch with me through a phone call, through Viber, WhatsApp. So people have been getting in touch with me and asking me about things, and parang 2 tao recently yung nakausap ko that they're heartbroken because of a failed relationship. And so ang una kong sinabi is really accept that relationships don't always work out. Ganun talaga. I mean, meron nga dyan, we have friends, diba? We have friends. I personally know a couple who have been married for like more than 20 years and they still have to part ways. So ganun talaga. I mean, not all relationships will work out. So that's reality. And we have to accept that. Okay, so yun yung una. You really have to accept the situation. Number two is cry and be angry. But forgive afterwards. Okay, cry and be angry. Ganun talaga. I mean, if something does not work out, you can cry all you want. You can be angry all you want. You can feel whatever you want to feel. That's perfectly normal. Something did not go your way. That's perfectly normal to be disappointed, perfectly normal to be mad, perfectly normal. Whatever you're feeling, it's normal. I will not tell you what to feel. I will not tell you to stop crying. I will not tell you that you're doing this wrong, you're doing this right. I will not tell you anything like that. I will just tell you, feel whatever it is that you want to feel. But forgive. Yan, but forgive. After crying, after releasing all the emotions, after releasing all the pain, forgive. And who's the first person you have to forgive? Forgive yourself. That's the first person you have to forgive. Because sometimes, alam nyo ba, kaya mahirap magpatawad ng ibang tao kasi tayo mismo, hindi natin napatawad yung sarili natin. So, forgive yourself. I mean, if that relationship did not work out, that's not entirely his or her fault. That's also your fault, right? So, madalas sinisisi natin yung sarili natin. But, forgive yourself. Hindi ibig sabihin na nagkamali ka dyan sa relationship na yan. It's 100% your fault. Relationships are two-way streets. Okay? Two-way streets. All relationships, whether it's personal relationship, a working relationship, or, a business relationship, all relationships are two-way. So, don't put the blame on one person. That means, you don't blame the other person lang, or you don't blame yourself lang. You have to forgive both the person and yourself. Okay? Kasi remember, you cannot forgive someone else if you haven't forgiven yourself first. Mauna ka. Mauna mong patawarin yung sarili mo so that you can forgive somebody else. Okay? So, forgive. Next is, as I've mentioned, you have to embrace the feeling. Whatever the feeling is. And if you watched my previous podcast last Monday, I have said this on that podcast. I will say it again. Feelings are absolutely normal. You are entitled to feel it. Do not stop yourself from feeling. And there is no such thing as a wrong feeling. Lahat ng nararamdaman natin, valid. Kung nasasaktan ka, valid yan. Kung nalulungkot ka, valid yan. Nadi-disappoint ka, valid yan. Every single thing that you feel is normal and it's valid. Stop telling yourself that, dapat hindi ko ito nararamdaman, dapat hindi ako nasasaktan. You cannot stop that. But, that's the bad news, right? That feelings are there. They're gonna hurt you, they're gonna break your heart, etc., etc. But what's the good news? The good news is that feelings are not permanent. Feelings are fleeting. Ito yung naalala ko dun sa isa kong friend, no? Sinabihan niya ako when I was nursing a very, very, very bad heartbreak. I think that's the worst heartbreak I ever had in my more than 3 decades of existence. Yung particular heartbreak na yun. Sabi niya sa akin, that's a good news. Your feelings are fleeting. So hindi permanent yung feelings natin. Hindi porke nararamdaman mo yan ngayon, tapos na. Diyan na matatapos yung buhay mo. Hindi eh. Mauubos din yan. One day, pagising mo, magigising ka na lang, ay, hindi ko na to nararamdaman because again, feelings are fleeting. Feelings are not permanent. So whatever it is that you're feeling now, just feel it. Embrace it. Nasasaktan ka, edi masaktan ka. Ano naman ngayon, di ba? Hindi naman ibig sabihin na sasaktan ka, magagalit yung mga tao sa'yo, ay ano ba yan, nasasaktan si Ivorine, dapat galit tayo sa kanya. No. I mean, if the people around you hate you for being hurt, you are in the wrong crowd. The other people around you who are telling you to stop the feelings that you're feeling, you are in the wrong crowd. Because if you're in the right crowd, they will understand that you're going through a rough time. And I'm very happy that I have people around me who are like that. Parang if I'm not in the mood to speak up, they will be okay with it. If I'm not in the mood to be happy, they will be okay with it. In the same manner na ganun din ako towards them. So, choose the people around you because the people around you are actually a very strong influence on how you nurse your feelings. Alam niyo yun, may mga tao na parang i-ignore lang yung feelings mo or as they call it, ini-invalidate na, ano ba yan? Yan lang. Nasasaktan ka? Babaw mo naman. So, no, do not hang out with people like them. Because people like them who do not care for your feelings or who invalidate your feelings, they do not deserve the time of day. Kasi may karapatan kang maramdaman kung ano yung nararamdaman mo. But at the same time, also hang out with the people who will speak some sense to you. Yung sasabihin na sa'yo na, oh, medyo exage ka na dyan, ha? Kasi, for example, may nararamdaman ka, tapos gusto mo manakit ng ibang tao dahil nasaktan ka. Tapos may mga tao sa paligid mo na, sige, saktan mo kasi nasaktan ka. Hindi, dapat hindi rin ganon, okay? Though your feelings are valid, dapat yung mga tao sa paligid mo, supportive sila sa'yo, but at the same time, they will speak some sense in your head, or they will knock some sense in your head, na kapag ka wala nang sense yung ginagawa mo, for example, you're already hurting yourself, or you're hurting other people, they will tell you that you're doing the wrong thing. So, dapat ganon. Supportive sila, mahal ka nila, pero at the same time, hindi sila magdadalawang isip na pagsabihan ka if you're doing the wrong thing. Kasi remember, feelings are always, you cannot be judged by your feelings, but you will be judged by your actions. So, okay lang na nasasaktan ka, pero kung yung actions mo, nanakit ka dahil lang nasasaktan ka, that's what's wrong. Okay? So, your feelings are valid, but your actions will still be defined if it's wrong or right. Okay? Oh, Check, you're there. Hi, Check. I miss you. Dapat nag-guest ka na sa podcast ko. OMG. Okay. Hi, Sir Joseph. Thank you so much. Ayan. Tuloy-tuloy ako nagsasalita. Next is, okay. So, sabi natin, feel your feelings, but don't become your feelings. Okay. Naalala ko yung post ko I think yesterday or the other day. Sinabi rin kasi to sa akin ng friend ko. Sabi niya, hurt people. Okay? Ang mga taong nasaktan ay nananakit. Okay? So, don't become your feelings. Oo, nasaktan ka. Lahat naman tayo nasasaktan eh. Pero ito yung sasabihin ko sa inyo, to keep you grounded. To keep you grounded. Nasaktan ka, diba? Okay? Can you honestly tell me right now na porke nasaktan ka, you deserve na makasakit ka rin ng iba just because nasaktan ka? Or, can you honestly tell me that from the moment you were born up until now, you have never hurt anyone? Right? Right? So, lahat tayo nasaktan. But it doesn't mean that we have the right to hurt other people just because we are hurt. Okay? Kung nasaktan tayo, hindi ibig sabihin na may karapatan na tayong manakit. So, don't become your feelings. Okay? You can feel whatever you want to feel, but you do not have the right to hurt people just because you're hurt. You do not have the right to break other people's hearts just because you are heartbroken. Do not become your feelings. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng ganon. Do not avenge yourself. Ay, nasaktan ako. Nananakit na ako ng ibang tao. No, that's not right. Okay, you can feel hurt, but do not hurt other people because that's wrong. Okay. Hi there, good evening. Sir Joseph, ano yung good news? Good news ko? Ano yung good news ko? PM kita. Hindi ko alam. Ano yung good news ko? Hi, Check. No one can judge you by your feelings. That's true, but they can judge your action. That's true. Oh, thank you. Okay. Next is, ito pa. Kasi, di ba? So, dumaan naman tayong lahat sa heartbreaks. Tapos ito na. Nasaktan ka ngayon. Tapos gusto mo, mamaya okay ka na. Pwede ba yun? Ang weird natin minsan, di ba? Siyempre, we're broken-hearted, we're going to cry, ganyan. Ayoko nang maramdaman to. Di ba? O, aminin nyo. Ganun tayo, di ba? Ayoko nang maramdaman to. Dapat mamaya okay na ako. Hello? May timeline yan at hindi lahat ng timeline pare-pareho. Okay? So, ito, I will tell you this. Ako, from my personal experience, based on my personal experiences, there are heartbreaks that takes me like, siguro mga 1 week, okay na ako. Heartbreaks, no? I have so many heartbreaks, like personal, business-related. Ang dami. So, meron ngang iba na heartbreak na parang 1 day lang okay na ako. Pero merong heartbreak, especially pag personal relationships ang involved. Sometimes it takes me months, sometimes it takes me years before I get over the feeling of the heartbreak. Yung parang pagka naalala mo, may kurot pa rin. Ganon. So, hindi natin pwedeng madaliin yon. Yes, we can move past it. That's true. Pwede naman tayo makamove on. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na pag naka-move on ka na, hindi ka na makakaramdam ng kurot. Aminin natin to. Yung mga taong sobrang nasaktan tayo, kahit sobrang tagal na, okay, real talk ha, sobrang tagal na nung taong nanakit sa atin, nakapanakit ng feelings na, nanakit talaga, no? Yung sobrang nakasakit ng feelings natin, kahit sobrang tagal na, pag naalala natin yung nangyari, may kurot pa rin. Because that's how it is. We have a heart, and it was broken. So, eventually, may mga times pa rin na mararamdaman natin yung kurot. And you know what? It's normal. And again, feelings are not permanent. So, feel it, pero don't waste your time trying to avoid it because it will just catch after you. Paulit-ulit lang yun hanggang sa panay ang iwas mo, saka yun hahabol sa'yo. So, feel it. Ramdamin lang natin. Next is, sometimes it's right to end the connection. Okay, sometimes it's right to end the connection. Ano yung connection? Okay, we are connected with the person or the experience that caused the heartbreak. Right? A few days ago, a friend of mine was asking me, sabi niya sa akin, is it okay if I outgrew my friends? Sabi ko, what do you mean outgrew your friends? Sabi niya, parang hindi ko na nafe-feel na connected pa rin ako sa kanila. Like, hindi na daw siya nakaka-relate dun sa mga friends niya. I'm like, what's wrong with that if you don't feel connected with your friends anymore? I mean, darating naman talaga yung point na may mga maa-outgrow tayo. And that's normal. If they love you and you love them, you will understand each other. And so, there's always a connection. And we break our hearts because we are connected to that particular person or to that particular situation or to that particular experience. And guess what? Let me tell you this. It's okay to break the connection. Sasabihin ko ulit, it's okay to break the connection. Okay lang na putulin mo yung connection na yun. If that particular relationship hurts you so much, break the connection. If that particular situation breaks your heart so much, break that situation. If that particular experience breaks your heart so much, break that experience. It's really up to you. Kaso kasi, problema kasi sa atin, real talk ulit, ang problema kasi sa atin, alam na nating nasasaktan tayo. Alam na nating nasasaktan tayo. Parang inuulit-ulit pa rin natin yung connection. Kumbaga, itong taong to paulit-ulit niya akong sinasaktan, pero andyan ka pa rin naman. So if you really want to stop the heartbreak, then you have to break the connection. Kung nakipag-break ka sa ex mo, delete mo na lahat ng mga pictures niya. Huwag mo na siyang i-follow huwag mo na siyang i-stalk sa Instagram or sa Facebook. Break the connection. It's up to you. Paano mo ba break yung connection na yon? Huwag mo nang puntahan yung mga pinupuntahan ninyo hanggang sa hindi ka nakaka-move on. Ganun. Break the connection. Because whatever it is that reminds you of that person or that experience or that situation, for as long as you keep going back to that, your connection will still be there and your heart will keep on breaking. And please, be kind to your heart. You only have one heart, di ba? Walang replacement yan. Walang ano ba tawag doon? Spare parts. Walang spare parts. Hello, Sir Sanglay. Good evening po. Utang na di nabayaran. Masakit din pala. Yeah, that's true. You know what? Yan, kaganyan. Utang na di nabayaran. Bakit siya masakit? Kasi you trusted You trusted the person na pinahiram mo ng pera, di ba? So it's heartbreaking to know that you trusted a person and then hindi niya na-reciprocate yung trust na yun. Hindi niya kumaga, ano ba tawag doon? Hindi niya tumbasan yung trust. Sinira niya yung trust mo eh. And breaking someone's trust is also heartbreaking. Kasi, trust is also a feeling eh. Pinagkatiwalaan mo eh. 'Di ba? Nag-invest ka ng tiwala sa tao. And what's so bad about investing trust in someone is, kapag nagtiwala ka sa isang tao, tapos na-break niya yun, yung susunod na tao, wala ka ng tiwala. Alam mo yun? So, nagiging cycle na. Kaya maraming tao yung paranoid. Maraming tao yung may trust issues. It's not the person right now who caused the problem. It's actually the people that particular person dealt with in the past that caused the trust issues. Kaya pag may mga tao na nagsasabi sa akin ng ganito, may trust issues sila, and for example, sabihin nila they don't trust me and all, like, that's not me. I don't take it personally. I know that they've been through worse times, kaya nahirapan na sila magtiwala sa mga tao sa present time. But also, again, break the connection. If you did not trust the other person, that person in the past, break the connection. Pero give chance din dun sa mga taong nasa paligid mo ngayon. Because, sabi ko nga I trust people 100% until they break it. So, lahat ng tao sa buhay ko ngayon, I trust all of them. Even strangers, I will trust them. Until such time na i-break nila yung trust ko. That's the only time I will distrust them. But that's very specific. If somebody breaks my trust, that's the only person I will no longer trust. The rest of the people around me, I will still trust them because they don't deserve to be judged by somebody else's actions, 'di ba? Not fair. Hindi naman ikaw yung may atraso, yung mga tao naman sa paligid, yung mga tao naman sa past na yung gumawa nun. Hello, Jaylene. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, next is, confide. Speaking of trust, if you're going through a heartbreak, please do not forget that you have people around you who are willing to listen to you. I know this 100% because some of my friends are actually watching right now, and I'm really grateful for all the help, the support that my friends gave me over the years. As in, sobrang dami kong friends na tinulungan ako over the years. I trust them 100%. Like, they have been behind the scenes, lalong-lalo na when I'm going through a really rough time. Ang daming tao behind the scenes. And that's exactly why I'm paying forward. Kaya ako ginagawa tong podcast na to kasi gusto ko somehow may makarinig ng mga in-advise din sa akin ng mga friends ko na in the past na sobrang nakatulong sa akin. So this is me paying forward. So if you've heard something good from this and if you've learned something new from this podcast, share this to your friends too kasi malay natin baka may gusto ring makarinig ng mga naririnig ninyo ngayon. Of course, another thing is, when you're recovering from heartbreak, you feel isolated. Feeling mo mag-isa ka. And ulitin natin, hindi ka nag-iisa. Kung na-break yung heart mo ngayon, girl, hindi lang ikaw yan. Okay? Hindi lang ikaw yung na-break yung heart. Maraming tao ang na-break ang heart. In fact, lahat ng tao na-break yung heart nila. When you were a kid, and then your mom or your dad promised you that they will buy you a toy. Yun. Tapos, hindi nila tinupad. Dun pa lang nagsisimula na yung mga heartbreaks, diba? To be fair to my mom, parang dalawa lang yung naaalala ko na hindi niya nabigay. Kasi syempre, she was a single mom when we were growing up. So, in fairness naman sa kanya, she explained why. So, nung bata ako, talagang very rare yung meron akong heartbreaks. Yun. But we have heartbreaks, even when we were kids. Right? So, lahat tayo dumadaan talaga sa heartbreaks. Iba't ibang level lang. May heartbreak na talagang parang hindi lang heart yung na-break. Feeling mo, pati balon-balunan mo, atay mo. Feeling mo, pati kaluluwa mo na-break. Merong ganong level. Pero meron ding level na parang na-break, pero okay lang. I survived. Parang kumbaga sa malayo sa bituka, yung sabi nila, diba? So, yeah. So, confide with a trusted person. Yeah, go out and mingle. Mali yung nabasa ko. Go out and mingle. So, go to people who, who you can talk to. And because you do not feel isolated. Do not isolate yourself. Yung pa pala, do not isolate yourself. If you don't want to talk to people, like, I did this several times in the past. Although it's strange, I will not advise you to do the same thing. But I did this several times in the past, because most people got used to me being the advisor. Parang lahat ng tao pag may problema sila sa akin, sila lalapit. So if when I have a problem, parang I wouldn't really talk about it to people that I know, because they will tell me lang na you already know what you're doing, ganyan, ganyan, because they know that I'm always the logical one. I'm always the mental one. Parang ako yung laging nag-iisip ng malalim. So, parang I know how to navigate my way out of a problem. But whenever I feel as if I'm isolated, I don't isolate myself. Sometimes I will talk to strangers, ganyan, talk to talk to people that I meet on the street, ganyan, and then I will talk to them, etc., about life in general. And so, this is not an advice that I will give to everybody, because again, it's not safe, especially now. Especially sa panahon ngayon, no? Baka mamaya makidnap ka pa. But ang point ko is, you have to go out and mingle. You really have to. You really have to talk to someone. And in fact, recently, even some of my students that, I've taught in the past, yung sobrang tagal ko ng mga estudyante, the first person daw that comes to mind when they want to share something na pinagdadaanan nila, ako daw yung una. I'm really grateful that you think of me, but also kaya tayo mayroong podcast na ganito, because also of a former student who requested for this. Nasabi niya, I'm going through a very rough time in my life and I think I'm depressed. I want to hear it from you. What are you gonna say? And then maybe some people will also be able to hear it. Especially those who need it, diba? So, yun. So, there will be people out there who will be willing to listen to you. And remember, they don't even have to give you an advice. They don't. Most of the time, you only want to, just talk and not ask for any advice, because it's the last thing that they want. Actually, most of the people who are going through a heartbreak, ang gusto nila is may makinig lang sa kanila. They don't even need an advice, because they know what they're supposed to do. You just have to listen to them, because they want a safe space where they can let it all out without judgment. So if you're one of them, if you want to let it all out without judgment, you can send me a message. I always say this, my lines are open. And if you're the person naman being approached by someone who needs to let it all out, please, let's not judge them. At one point, tayo rin yung taong yan, diba? So let's help each other. And of course, the most important part of dealing with a heartbreak is surround yourself with people who love you, with people who will not judge you, with people who will be there to support you, who will be there to listen to you, or who will be there to be silent with you. That's also crucial. That's also essential. There are people na willing sila na umupo lang sa isang tabi kasama mo kahit wala kang sinasabi. For me, that's very important. Especially that I'm a boundary person. I really like my boundaries in place. So, pagka wala ako sa mood magsalita, there will be persons or there will be people who will be willing to just sit down and drink coffee or drink tea and not say a word. That's also important. So, if there's someone out there who wants to hang out sa inyo, with you, who wants to hang out with you, and they don't want to talk, they just want to hang out literally, just sit down and do nothing, payag kayo para, silence is also okay. You don't always have to talk. So those are some of the tips that I have from recovering from a heartbreak. And remember that heartbreaks are always normal. They're never abnormal. never siyang magiging kakaiba or strange or out of this world, because for as long as you have a heart, well, it can break anytime. Pero how do you prevent heartbreaks from happening? The answer is you can't. You can't prevent heartbreaks from happening, because again, we're humans, and it's normal and it's inevitable to break your heart. Siguro kung ayaw mo ng heartbreak, huwag kang magmahal, huwag kang ma-attach, huwag kang mag-commit, huwag kang magkaroon ng kahit na anong passion and compassion towards anything or anyone, which is actually impossible. So, how do you prevent heartbreaks from happening? You can't, but the good news is if you break your heart, you can recover from it. Okay, believe me, I've been there. I've done that several times. Every single time, lupasay ako. Pero pagdating naman sa huli, well, wala ka namang magagawa eh. Mag-move on at mag-move on ka, diba? Whether it's from a relationship, whether it's a situation or an experience, you will have to move on from it. Wala kang choice. Life goes on. Life goes on even though feeling mo tapos na yung mundo para sa'yo. No, life moves on. And there's this one thing that I always remember whenever I feel like I'm going through a very rough time. This is one of the tips that this is one of the statements that I heard from a friend. I will also share it with you because I think ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-powerful na statements na narinig ko during a very rough time in my life. And I will share it with you. It goes this way. The world will not stop for a girl with a broken heart. Ulitin ko, the world will not stop for a girl with a broken heart. Meaning, the world will still go on and on and on and on and on, even though your heart is breaking. And so, your life should also move on. Diba? Very credible ba ako? Alam mo yan. Alam mo yan. Sobrang alam mo yan. Grabe. Grabe talaga. So, diba? So, life moves on and so you will also move on from that heartbreak. So, if you're going through a very rough time now, let me tell you this, life will move on still. Kaya hindi pa po dyan natatapos yung mundo mo. And if you ever need someone to talk to because your heart is breaking and you don't know what to do, well, give me a call because there will be a lot of people behind this page, behind me, who will be willing to talk to you or to be silent with you if you need to be silent with someone. Sige, pwede naman. Okay, we'll go through that together. Marami na this year, parang I cannot imagine how many people I went to because they're suffering from heartbreaks. Like, meron akong pinuntahan ng alanganing oras, like this oras ng gabi amidst the pandemic. Alam niyo yun? Kasi dumadaan sa heartbreak. Meron din na in the middle of nowhere pinuntahan ko. As in, sobrang dami talaga. But again, if ever may mga taong nakatulong sa inyo during a heartbreak, to pay it forward, you also help another person na dumadaan din sa heartbreak. You know, that's how it works. That's how life works, right? Once we receive, we give. Once we give, we receive. Ganun talaga yon. And so this ends my podcast episode for tonight. I'm so happy to see familiar faces. Thank you, Check. I'm so happy to see you. And syempre si Mom Wendy, thank you for being the first person to show up tonight. And of course, kung sa tingin niyo nakatulong yung podcast episode or kung na-miss out niyo yung mga sinabi ko kanina, okay lang, may replay naman. Don't worry about it. And if you're gonna break your heart, ito yung sasabihin ko, if you're gonna break your heart, please break your heart with a poise. Okay? Pwede kang maglupasay, but you don't have to tell everyone in the world na dumadaan ka sa heartbreak. You can have a heartbreak and still look glamorous, feel glamorous, and be glamorous. You cannot break your heart and be ugly at the same time. Grabe, hindi pwede yun, okay? You can break your heart and still be glamorous, okay? Don't forget that part. We cannot die ugly. Okay? Anyway, thank you so much everyone for hanging out with me tonight. We have talaga topic tonight. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, it's a few more days before Christmas. Let's do this. Malapit na rin matapos yung taon. So, by the way, I will be announcing next week, we will be doing a raffle. Raffle ba? Kasi may mga sponsors ako next week before Christmas. Tama ba? Yon. So, abangan ninyo yung ating pag-games. Thank you everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you all. And don't forget, it's okay to have a heartbreak for as long as you stay glamorous, you stay fab, and you stay lovely. Bye everyone.